Hello brothers and welcome back to another video. So today I want to talk about Belisarius Cawl and I want to talk about the Order 66 theory. Now for those of you who don't know what the Order 66 theory is, it's been floated around the interwebs a few years, well basically ever since Primaris got introduced, is that since Belisarius Cawl produced the Primaris Marines, what if he put into place something where he could basically flip a switch and all the Primaris turned on the Imperium itself? They just listened to Belisarius Cawl orders, much like what happened in Star Wars when the clone troopers activated Order 66 and they turned on the Jedi. So let's jump in and let's have a little discussion about this techno lord. Just a heads up, I am going to be speaking about some spoilers which are present in the Dark Imperium novel by Guy Haler. If you haven't started this series yet, it's Dark Imperium, then it's Plague Wars, and there's a third one yet to come out. They're amazing. You should go out and buy them. I'll include the links in the description of the video and all that kind of stuff. But just be aware, I am going to be talking about the first of that series of those of those books. So, you know, if you haven't read it yet, then just be prepared that there's spoilers in this video for that. I think we should start by basically going over the connection between Rebooted Guilliman, Belisarius Cawl, and the Primaris as a whole. So everyone's on the same playing field. So we basically know the same knowledge. This is just basics. So right after the Horus Heresy, Rebooted Guilliman approached Belisarius Cawl, and he said, hey, can you make me some new Marines because the Imperium's going to need these guys? And Belisarius Cawl was like, okay, yep, I'll go away. I'll see what I can do. In the meantime, Fulgrim and Rebooted had a little duel. Rebooted got his throat slit open. He nearly died, got put into stasis. Cawl, since there was no one to report to or anything like that, just carried on his tests and his improvements for basically 10,000 years until Rebooted was awakened with the help of some Xenos heretical tech and Belisarius Cawl, who made him like the armor of fate and all that, you know, all the stuff like Guilliman's armor and stuff like that. But when Guilliman woke up, Cawl was like, hey, here you go. Here's the guys I made for you. These guys are Primaris Marines, and they are basically an improvement on the Emperor's normal Space Marines. And when I say improvement, they are bigger, they are faster, and they are stronger. They also have more gene implants as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think they have 22 gene implants, and normal Space Marines have 18 gene implants. Along with making basically the Primaris, he also made everything that went with him, like the armor, the repulsor tanks, the guns, everything which is Primaris basically came from the mindset of Belisarius Cawl. So if you look at him as a character, he is very, very important with the way the Imperium is actually being shaped at the moment. Without his hand, without his men that he basically built, without the forges producing the weapons and the tanks which he has designed, the Imperium probably could have lost against Chaos in a very, very big way. Now, I do admit there is some strange bits to the Primaris lore when it first happened in the Gathering Storm. I personally think it was kind of rushed, but the writers themselves now, like there's some books which are out, especially this one which we're going to be talking about, the Dark Imperium book. I know Aaron Dembski-Bowden's got the Emperor's Spears. Gav Thorpe did one about the Dark Angels and stuff. These guys are expanding the lore about the Primaris and their general effect on the normal Space Marines and how the interactions are and how they're accepted and all that kind of stuff. So that is building the bridges and making the lore more readable and more lore-worthy, let's say, when it comes to these new Marines. So the big question is what is Cawl's main goal when it comes to the 40k setting? How is he going to go around it? What effect can he have if he basically didn't get his own way? Now, we know from the Dark Imperium book that Cawl wants to be head of Mars. He wants to lead Mars. He wants to become the new Archmagos of Mars. He wants to control Mars and the way Mars works. But we also know that the main authority on Mars dislikes Cawl. They dislike his advancements in tech. they basically look at it and it's like techno heresy. He's changing things that shouldn't be changed, and they very, very much dislike that. Now, that's not to say that everyone hates Belisarius Cawl. He does have a cult following upon Mars, and if he did have a military backing from a certain Lord of the Imperium, aka Guilliman, then he would easily be able to place himself as Lord of Mars and even make more of this technology, which is frowned upon by most of the tech priests of Mars. Now, one of the most biggest hints that we could probably see Cawl getting some power, maybe trying to turn things in his favour, actually comes from the Dark Imperium novel itself. There is a discussion between him, well, I say it's him, it's not really him, but it's him in a way, and rebooted Guilliman. Basically, Cawl makes a machine called the Cawl Inferior, and it's basically an AI device. You remember what happened the last time we did AI? It was the Men of Iron, and that didn't turn out so well. This is why people like the tech priests of Mars and the people in charge dislike him. They dislike the stuff he's doing. But basically, it's this machine, and it's stationed like in the inner core of the Macrag's Honor. Only Guilliman can like activate it and stuff like that. It's activated like by a lone navigator and stuff, and it's an AI machine which is basically Belisarius Cawl. It's been programmed to be mathematically correct in like all kind of scenarios when it talks to Rebute and stuff like that, and the machine keeps pressing Rebute. Like Belisarius Cawl wants to be stated at the head of Mars. He wants your assistance. Please, can you do it? Can you come with your authority, and can you basically give him, let's say, the crown of Mars? Guilliman understands that Mars is a different kettle of fish. He knows that Mars, even though it stands with the Imperium, basically even though it is the Imperium, the policies of Mars are different from the Imperium. He knows that if he was to take his forces and so-called overthrow those already on Mars, that it would just cause another basically civil war, and that's something that the Imperium doesn't need, and it really can't have at the moment, since if it did come to that, then Mars is like the foundation of producing the raw materials, the raw strength of the Imperium at the moment. If you start basically another civil war, then that will escalate across the galaxy in different factions, people with who, and the production will start hurting the Imperium more than benefiting it. So Guilliman's like, no, I'm not getting involved in that. That is nothing to do with me. You'll have to, basically do that yourself. You'll have to get elected officially through yourself. Now, this is where the theory comes into it. The theory is, what if Belisarius Cawl basically put a failsafe into the Primaris Marines, much like what happened with the clone troopers in the Star Wars? If they needed to flip the switch, and basically the plan is to overthrow the Jedi anyway in Star Wars. But what if Belisarius Cawl actually put something in place where if he saw, maybe, let's say Guilliman was getting corrupted, maybe the Imperium was getting corrupted, and it was only him, his mindset, his witnesses, he knows what's to happen. Mathematically, he's got the correct choice of what to do, since, his binary numbers and all that kind of stuff. So he put into place a failsafe where he flips a switch, and basically the Primaris Marines become under his control. That is the general theory, which people who dislike the Primaris, let's say, have under their belt at the moment. I actually do think it's pretty cool. I of course, personally for me, since I am a Primaris fanboy, I'm not on board with this theory. I think if that was in place, I think there would have been signs, there's some kind of discoveries and all that kind of stuff. And so far, we don't really know that much about Cawl as a character. We do know that there is a book coming out dedicated to Belisarius Cawl. Apparently, if it does well, then it's going to be its own little trilogy itself. And again, this is being done by Guy Haley, so it may connect to like the Dark Imperium storylines and all that kind of stuff. But for me, personally, I really don't see it happening, because the Primaris were bred for the purpose, and that purpose was for warriors of the Imperium to go be mass-produced and basically die for the Imperium. Really that is their task. I don't see Cawl as a character being that kind of character. I really do think he cares for the Imperium. He cares for humanity, even though himself is not really human anymore. 10,000 years will have an effect on you. That's why he basically had to change himself into more or less something that is not human, because if you live that long and you basically have a mind of a human, you'll just go insane and you will lose yourself, and that is it. So that's why he's changed into this massive husk of like a kind of arachnid techno monster thing. So yeah, that's why he's like that. But again, I just can't see that happen. It's a cool theory, but I just think that it'll be too, oh, he put a switch on to make these guys the bad guys, so they come under his control, so now he's the master. I think that would be too much of a cheap storyline, even by GW standards, to go down that route. I think better things could happen where, maybe a storyline where he basically bred his own Primaris Marines, maybe using different gene seeds, maybe gene seeds of some of the fallen legions, because we know that's a fact as well, that he actually wants to start mass producing Marines from legions who fell to the traitors during the Horus Heresy. Again, he has the conversation with Guilliman that Guilliman's like, no, we don't want that. We can't let that happen. These were the ones that, betrayed the Imperium. And he points out, well, there's been Ultramarine successors that have fallen to chaos. Does that mean we shouldn't make any more of your gene lineage? And Guilliman doesn't know what to say, and Guilliman basically comes away from the conversation saying he doesn't really have the power to stop Belisarius Cawl if he went away and started to make these chapters from the traitor gene seed, because they do have really good traits in some areas which would benefit the Imperium, and Guilliman has no power to stop him. So I think, personally for me, I think it'd be more cooler that he actually bred his own chapter, which would be there to follow his orders rather than anyone else's orders. I think that would make a more of a juicy story rather than flipping the switch. All right, I control everything now. Let him make his own chapter, and see Guilliman come to him and go, whoa, what's happening here? You've bred your own Space Marine chapters. What gene seed are you using? What are these Ultramarines? He's like, no, they're basically word bearers, let's say, word bearer gene seed, because they're ever faithful and loyal and stuff like that, and they're loyal to me, and they defend my world, maybe my Forge world and stuff like that. I personally think that would make a lot better storyline rather than just doing the whole Order 66 thing. At the end of the day, I just think we need more story on Cawl himself. We've basically just had the Gathering Storm, which was not the best, as I stated. We've had a bit of him in Dark Imperium, but not enough. So I'm looking forward to these new books. Apparently, he's going to the Sives of the Emperor planet, and we all know what device is on that planet, which attracted a certain race of Xenos, which is basically maybe consuming the galaxy anyway when it comes to like endgame stuff. So we'll see what happens with his character, and maybe we'll get some more secrets on him, and maybe his actual mindset on how he sees the Imperium and how he actually wants to mold maybe the Imperium to the way he sees it's best rather than what Guilliman sees best. So it should be interesting when that book actually does come out and actually hits the shelves. Alright, Chaperonios, that is me done for another video. Thank you for coming, thank you for watching. Tell me what you think. Do you think Cawl has got a little secret plan up his sleeve? Do you think he's loyal to the Imperium? Do you think he just wants us to be like the king of, I keep calling it the King of March. What's his proper title? Is it? I think it's the Archmagos of Mars. I think that's the actual proper title. But yes, tell me what you think down below in the comment section, and we can have a nice little chat. As always, thank you for coming, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon. See you now, and bye-bye.